golden. So will the nuts. They'll be fragrant and delicious. It's always a plus to toast your nuts. Now we're gonna shred our carrots, and notice I'm using the fine shredder. You don't have to if you don't have one, but I like it best, especially for cupcakes. Okay, we want to have 1/2 pound, 226 grams, or about 2 cups of shredded carrots. I'm using a scale, but a cup is fine too. Shred, shred, shred. And you be careful with that shredder. I have cut myself so many times with something like this, but almost never with a sharp knife. These are the most dangerous tools in the kitchen, mark my words. And let me know in the comments if you've had a knuckle scrape. It's not fun. 1 big carrot. Okay, we're about halfway there. I'm making these cupcakes as a special treat for the boys. What could be cuter than carrot cake cupcakes for the babies? And as an added bonus, I had a ton of requests for this video after my carrot cake video, which you can click up here for. That cake is amazing, delicious. You've got to try that too. This is not the proper shredding form, by the way. I'm shredding to camera. Normally it would be the other way around. Just about exactly 2 pounds, 228 grams. Set this aside and onto the dry ingredients. For the dry ingredients, we're gonna add this all into a big bowl, and I'm using a sifter and a scale, but not absolutely necessary. It's just my favorite thing to do. All right, 1 1/4 cups or 150 grams of all-purpose flour. In you go. Okay, a teaspoon of salt. I know it kind of seems like a lot of salt, but it's gonna balance everything out and be so good. 1 leveled teaspoon of baking soda, a leveled teaspoon of baking powder, lots of leavening. And now for the spices. This makes the cupcake. So you don't have to use all the spices. Don't run to the store if you don't need to, but this is my all-time favorite list. So here it goes. Tighten my apron for this one. 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon, a 1/4 teaspoon of ginger. In you go. Ooh, a 1/4 teaspoon of cardamom. I know I've said this every single time, but it's so aromatic and good. I think next time I have to level up and get some cardamom pods and then microplane them in. That is the ultimate in freshness. Okay, 1/4 teaspoon. And then last but not least, a 1/4 teaspoon of allspice. You can let me know in the comments if I'm missing a spice. I'm very interested. I will always add another spice if you tell me to. So sift it out and now whisk it up. There we go. Our scale is done. Thank you for your service. Dry ingredients are done. And now it's time for the wet ingredients. Okay, so for the wet ingredients, we're gonna use 1/3 cup, careful, of veggie oil. What is that? 80 ml. My pet peeve, which you know if you watch this channel, is an oily carrot cake. Why would you do that? It's like taking a perfectly wonderful cake and just going psh, into the garbage. Don't make your cakes oily when they don't have to be. You can get moisture in other ways. We're using a little bit of veggie oil, and then for the rest of the moisture, we're gonna use 1/3 cup of sour cream. You know I love it. A little sour cream fixes everything. And then 1/3 cup of applesauce. This is gonna be my snack. I love applesauce. Don't tell anybody. Applesauce and sour cream, hello, that is the best side for like cheese blintzes, right? 1/2 cup of white granulated sugar, 1/3 cup of, packed-ish brown sugar. There you go. And a nice splash or teaspoon, 5 ml, measured exactly, of a good vanilla. And wait, what's this? 2 eggs, I almost forgot, I was gonna get ready. 2 eggs, in you go. It's preferable if everything is room temperature or as close to room temperature as possible. You just don't wanna put ice cold things into the oven. It's not a good time. It makes baking happen in a less even way, and things don't incorporate as nicely either. This can lead to a lot of awkward moments in the kitchen where someone's like, shouldn't I put this away? You're like, don't touch my butter. It needs to be room temperature. Mash this up a bit. This is the part the kids will love, by the way. Mashing and mixing. And then just whisk it up nicely. That applesauce, that sour cream, and the oil, as well as those egg yolks, are gonna give us a lot of moisture, which is just plain delicious. Okay, that's good. Now we're ready to assemble. Get this batter together. This easy batter is almost done, so let's pour the wet into the dry. Get all that in there, don't waste anything. We're gonna mix this until almost combined, not until fully combined, and you'll see why in a moment. Couple lumps in there, it's no problem, because we're gonna fold in the rest of the ingredients. What is a carrot cake cupcake without carrots? cake cupcake doesn't make any sense. All right, in you go, freshly grated carrots. And of course, 1/2 cup of chopped toasted walnuts. Fold them in. The deal is that we don't want to overactivate the gluten in that flour. We're not making bread, we're making soft, tender, cakey cupcakes, not bready, tough cupcakes. If you overmix ingredients for a cake or cupcakes, the gluten can make the cake contract and become dense after the bake when it cools down, which is not fun because it comes out of the oven, you're like, oh, it's amazing. Then afterwards it shrinks down and it's kind of like not as nice. And you're like, this is less amazing, disappointing. This is all folded in. If you wanted to, if you are that person, you could also add in like 1/2 cup, 2/3 cup of raisins as well, if that makes you happy. You could also sub out some of that applesauce for little pineapple pieces if you like pineapple in your carrot cake. I happen to, and if you do as well, you can let me know in the comments. I'm always curious how many people like a certain ingredient like pineapple. Okay, this is ready to go into our cupcakes, so let's get them out. So now we're gonna pop our cupcake papers in here. I'm using plain white, but you could use whatever strikes your fancy. I have so many cupcake papers in my kitchen, but I most often use just plain Jane white. I don't know why. The best way, in my personal experience, to get batter into a cupcake paper nice and neat is using a scoopy Trigger ice cream scooper. So in you go, and I'm gonna try and fill these like about 3/4 of the way up. It's always tricky giving an exact serving for cupcakes when you write a recipe because your cupcake papers could be a bit bigger, a bit smaller. Maybe you're filling them a little bit less or a little bit more, and it can, change it plus or minus 3 cupcakes. It's kind of crazy. Let's see how many we get for today. In you go. Nice and neat, and it looks like we're gonna get exactly 12 cupcakes. Amazing. We're gonna pop these cupcakes into the oven now, and it's set at 375. A nice initial blast of heat will wake them up, but then you're gonna reduce the temperature to 350 after 5 minutes and cook them an additional 12 minutes until they're nice and springy in the center. In you go. While these cupcakes are baking up, we can make our frosting. Delicious, amazing cream cheese frosting. It is the best thing ever. Okay, so 1/2 cup, 113 grams of unsalted room temperature butter, 8 ounces or 226 grams of room temperature cream cheese. Cream it up. Whisk attachment, just get it nice and mixed. Lock. And plug it in, of course, too. Now, mix it up. While it's mixing, add in a pinch of salt, 1 pinch. And then you will always be scraping the bowl down, always. Nobody likes the unmixed nonsense in the bottom. Now, one last mix to finish creaming it up. Now that it's creamed up, I can add in my confectioner's sugar. I have a little bit under 2 cups, so it's about 1 3/4 cups of confectioner's sugar here. And I sifted it out ahead of time because you know what sifting looks like. Dump it in, say a little thought that it won't be messy. And then we're gonna mix on low. Actually, and then I'm gonna mix it by hand just a bit. Just give it a head start. Now we can continue mixing. On low. Drizzle in about a teaspoon of vanilla, and we can increase the speed. That cream cheese is such magic. It has a different consistency. It's kind of more, I don't know, pliable, kind of amazing cheese-like consistency. I don't know how to say it, but it comes together really, really quickly. Really quickly. Okay, mix, mix, mix. Look at that. Do you see this consistency? My cupcakes are done. Perfect timing, but they have to cool down before we decorate them, so don't get too excited. My cupcakes are cooled and smell amazing, by the by, and I transferred the frosting into a few piping bags with different tips, and we're gonna talk about that. First off, the classic, just like nice swirl. I'm using my second favorite tip, an 846. It's a large closed star tip, but any star tip will work, and you could even use a round tip for this as well. Just get your cupcake, get that frosting, and pipe a swirl and build it up. That's it. classic, clean, delicious, and it's just like a perfect bite. You know how I like to eat my cupcakes, and that's as a sandwich. But now for the fun part. So I was thinking about this recipe and I'm like, what would be a fun way to decorate these cupcakes? I was like, little buttercream carrots. Let me show you what I came up with. First, we're gonna create a little frosting base. I'm using, what is this, an 808 tip? 809 tip. It's a large round tip. You could use a 1A, whatever you want, even to snip the tip off a piping bag. Create a flat base. And if you want, you can smooth it out a little bit. Just use a little knife. And now we're gonna pipe an easy breezy buttercream carrot. If you're doing some serious decorating, you might wanna add in a little bit of extra powdered sugar. So for the colored frostings, I have orange here. It's the same buttercream, but I just added like another teaspoon or two of sugar, folded it in, and it made it more stiff. This is a number 10 round tip. It's a smaller, kind of like medium small round tip. Just pipe a carrot, this is the fun part. You're starting with the head of the carrot and you're ending at the base. So pipe and then trail off like that. And you could do another one too. All you have to do is just stop squeezing the bag as you're pulling the edge out and it works like a charm. Now for the leafy part, I'm using a small leaf tip. This is a 349, but any smaller leaf tip will work. Doesn't have to look perfect or anything. Carrots have messy leaves on top. Look how cute and easy that was. If you want your leaves to be more perky, a little bit more sugar onto them. That's all you have to do. So let me know which you prefer. The cute little buttercream carrots or the classic swirl. I am totally torn. But what I'm about to tear into right now is this cupcake. That wasn't planned, I just came up with it. All right, so paper off, rip it apart, sandwich it up, and look at this delicious, amazing treat. Oh my gosh. Before I bite into this cupcake, if you like this recipe, check out my cupcake playlist, all my favorite cupcakes.